Yo, what's up, everybody? Hope everybody enjoyed their 4th of July. Welcome to the Laker Locker Room. He's none other than Rod, and I'm Mr. 411. What's going on, Rod?
Ain't that much going on, man. Just sitting back, just got done with 4th of July and barbecue and all that stuff there. Um, so yeah, I'm just chilling on one of my days off before I head back into work, man.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, you got the Ice Cube look going too, man, with the LA hat on, the
Oh yeah,
beard, you know.
yeah. I mean, we in the locker room, so we gonna represent. We gonna
Yes,
represent.
sir. Yes, sir. All right. Today was a good day.
Oh
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
oh yeah.
Oh man. Well, we looking forward to for good days for the Lakers, man, in the future, in the near future here. And we're gonna jump into that stuff, man. So right after our intro, man, we're gonna jump right into the Laker locker room and get it going.
It's up.
All right. Yes, sir. Laker locker room. Welcome to the show, everybody. He's Rod. I'm Mr. 411. Please do the following. Yeah, we appreciate you. Hit that like, subscribe, notification, man, so you can see more Rod. You catch more Rod in the Laker locker room, man. You know, it's one of my favorite shows, man. The Laker locker room, man. We've been doing this for a long time now,
Yeah,
Rod.
yeah, man. Yeah. We've been doing it for a minute, and we're gonna get right into it, man. I mean, it's a lot to talk about, and nothing to talk about at the same time, which is one of those weird situations where it's like not a lot to be excited about, but it's a lot to be excited about. So let's
Yeah,
dive into it, man.
I'm intrigued, man. Intrigued. Let's get to the Laker news and notes. Man, first thing we're gonna talk about, man, is our big man. You know, the big man, Anthony Davis, man. Word on the street now is he's been uh taking shots in the gym, you know.
he, he finally picked up a ball, huh?
Yeah, yeah. So he putting up shots, man. So
Okay.
he's in there working on his game, putting up a bunch of shots, man. Like around 400, man. See, so he's showing everybody that hey, he's trying to put the work in, man, and make a change, man. So we'll see how that benefits the team down the line.
Yeah, we will. We'll see how that goes. Look, I know AD's been catching it, man, but when he's focused, when he's healthy, I mean, he's a top five talent in this league. But,
Easily.
yeah, and so it's just a matter of want to, it's a matter of desire, it's a matter of health, and I mean, so if he's really dedicating, got his mind right, you know, who knows? I'm really intrigued to see how he interacts with Rasheed Wallace because, I mean, from my understanding, Rasheed was brought in specifically for him to add some toughness, add some grit. So, I mean, he's been recently called out by Kevin Garnett. I mean, so
Oh yeah.
so your peers really, his peers have a lot of respect for him. I believe Rasheed took this job for him, and he took this job because he respects him. I think Kevin Garnett said what he said because he respected him. I mean, and I mean, I don't have the quote right in front of me, but basically, it was something like, um, you better than that, bro. I mean,
Yeah.
you out here, you squandering your talents, and you got to bring it, and so when those type of guys are saying that, you can play better than what you're playing, then it's time to get in the gym and put in the work, get back in the lab. So I'm interested to see how it goes because when he's focused, we're a totally different team.
Oh man, without a doubt, man. I mean, he should be the reason why the Lakers, should be on their third championship by now. And
Hmm.
I mean, like you said earlier, top five talent. I mean, without a doubt, without question, his skill set, man, is almost
Crazy.
unmatched. I
It's
mean, if you
crazy.
look at his perimeter and interior skill, he's a good free throw shooter. He can shoot threes. He got ball handling skills because he once upon a time was a point guard. I mean, he's got everything. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So we're going to see what happens, man. He got to work on the injury part of things, and I'm glad you brought up Rasheed because Rasheed, even in his day, he was like the stretch four, and
Hmm.
he was able to shoot from the outside, but he also had a post up game.
He had a post
Uh,
up game. He had some grit. He had some. He has.
yeah,
I mean, she was known to be a gritty player,
Yeah,
and so yeah,
yeah,
AD can definitely learn some things from him.
yeah. He's basically, he's basically Rasheed Wallace with ball handling skills and a better jumper. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah,
you know, it's amazing to see it, man. And we'll see what happens. And that's if he's still on the team, because I know we're gonna talk about some things down the line here
yeah,
in a few
oh yeah,
minutes. So
oh yeah,
everybody get ready for that, man. But let's talk about Jenny Buss. She is in the news, and she had a lot of wonderful things to say about the late great Kobe Bryant. Rest in peace, Kobe. He's our guy, and man, she basically laid it out. Man, she poured her heart about Kobe. Knowing saying that if he was here, there'd be a lot of things that he could tell her and speak upon. And Kobe's a Laker. He bleeds that purple and gold.
yeah.
And in her mind, he's the greatest Laker of all time. And we could say that for another conversation, but just basically, Jenny, just speaking highly of Kobe Bryant, man. What you think about that?
Man, I think she's, yes, while she's paying homage to Kobe, I think she's kind of, it's a cry for help. She's also taking some shots at some people. At the same time, I mean, it's a loaded statement. I mean, because she said, explain the things that I'm not allowed to know.
Wow.
And I'm like, for the owner not to be allowed to know something, that means that, in other words, people are keeping her out the loop of the basketball aspect of it and not really letting her know what's driving these decisions that are being made. And I think that, um, with everything's going on, I think, from what I understand, Magic's kind of stepped away a little bit.
Yep.
He's not as involved, and so you don't have that basketball mind. So now you're left to the Ramby, the Ramesses,
It ran by a crew.
yeah, and Rob Pelinka, and then you got, last but not least, the star of our team, which is LeBron, and he's a very passive aggressive type of person. He's not direct. He's not confrontational when it comes down to what he really wants. You just kind of see what happens, when he decides to leave.
You're right.
Which, and we might have to touch on that too, about the danger of waiting to see what LeBron does versus being proactive and trading him before he bounces on you,
Okay.
because he has not signed that extension, and until he signs that extension, he has us over a barrel. I'm in the camp of trade LeBron now while you can, but we'll get into that later.
Yes, sir.
Um,
We definitely will.
yeah. So, but with that being said, you know, I think, of course, she loved Kobe. Kobe is a very direct person. He was a very direct person, and he didn't mince words as to what was
Nope.
really going on with the team, and so she never had to wonder, as she does now with the whole Westbrook thing, and people pulling for him to come here and get him in here, and then they don't let him do his thing in terms of being on the ball, and then they want him off the ball. They got him all over the place, and then they get mad with him, throw their hands up, and now they want him gone. So it's you got that going on, and now we're hearing that we want to bring in Kyrie, which we're gonna touch on that. So it's just a lot going on, and it's decisions that you know, she takes all the blame, but she doesn't get to make the decisions when it comes to basketball.
Yeah.
She's great at what she does in terms of marketing and business. The organization makes loads of money. It's always the number one topic in basketball is the Lakers as a franchise. So marketing and business, she's A1 at it. But her basketball minds, they aren't communicating with her. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah. 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 But yeah, man, we hope everything gets better in that realm, man. And speaking of basketball decisions and minds coming together, man, Kyrie Irving, obviously he's been in the news for man, what since the end of that Boston
Hmm.
uh, Brooklyn series.
Yeah.
And man, Kyrie, man, look, there's a lot of talk about him at this point since he opted into his contract with the Nets. Now, the talk is, and it's been that for at least over a week or so now, is that he's really pushing and to be a Laker. And
Mhm.
so we need to talk about that. As you can see below, everybody, the framework of this deal is down here. A lot of this is probably the most consistent deal, part of the deal that's been out there, which includes a Westbrook going to Brooklyn and Kyrie obviously coming to LA. Then you have like now it's a Seth Curry versus Joe Harris type of deal where Seth Curry costs a little bit less for the Lakers to obtain him than it would be Joe Harris. So you got all that going on. Then of course you throw in some other players. Royce O'Neal comes to mind and other guys, and then some draft selections. So with that said, Rod, man, let's talk about Kyrie. And in particular, since we're in the locker room, Kyrie being a Laker.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that'll work? And I mean, do you like it? So on and so forth.
Okay, let me just give you my disclaimer. I can't stand Kyrie. Okay,
I think I know that.
I don't like the guy. I know he can hoop. I know he can play,
Yep.
but people that don't want to come to work, people that make excuses to leave the team hanging, that just irks me. I despise people like that. But with all that being said, the guy is out of this world talented. Probably one of the best, probably the best ball handler in the league right now in terms of just pure handles. I'm not talking about assist to turnover ratio. I'm just talking about just pure
It's handles, yeah.
dribbling and rock. And then when you get into his shot making ability, around the rim, he's crafty. I mean, obviously we know there's chemistry there with LeBron. They won a championship together. And then Anthony Davis is way better than Kevin Love, so that's an automatic, great, phenomenal big three that could win, that could definitely challenge Golden State. And so yes, it would definitely work. From a Laker fan standpoint, I would be for it. But it's almost like that situation when Karl Malone came to the Lakers. I couldn't stand Karl Malone, and a little piece of me was like, I don't want him in my jersey, and I kind of don't want Kyrie in my jersey. But I'm gonna use my brain, and yes, it would be a good fit basketball wise to bring him in. So I guess my answer is I would sign off on it. So,
But it sounds like you're begrudgingly signing off on this,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
You know,
Begrudgingly, because I mean, at the same time, I mean, he's shown himself to be a locker room cancer. He's shown himself to be, aloof and mercurial and do his own thing and disappear and all that. So I don't, I mean, it is already, while they have good history with LeBron, it's also bad history. Maybe what if those things resurface and
yeah,
and so it's all kind of stuff. I mean, LA has had their issues with police brutality. Lord forbid, somebody, get jumped on or shot by the police. Kyrie might need a break for a month. I mean,
yeah,
he's done it before, so it's just that aspect of it that goes with it. And at the end of the day, Westbrook is a guy that shows up to work every day, whether you like him or not. He shows up every day. He works. Plus, his contract comes off the book this year. This is probably going to be his last year with the Lakers, regardless. And I look at those picks that we're considering giving away
yeah, man.
in the deal. Those picks are just when LeBron is gone, and we're probably be in the middle of our rebuild process. So, you're once again mortgaging the future, because though we will need those picks definitely in 27, 29. LeBron will be gone by the end, and if he's still in the league, he will be terrible.
Yeah,
So, I mean, I don't see him being able to go, I mean, another 3-4
yeah,
years. So I mean, that's that's the reality of it. So I mean, I don't know, if that's the move to make future wise, but as far as now, yeah, it's, you do the deal.
man. Yeah, it's a tough one, man. For me, I think we should, I think we should stay pat, man. I think we should kind of just go ahead and keep Westbrook. I mean, the man averaged 22 points, 11 rebounds, 11 assists, just the previous year before coming to LA, right? He did that playing alongside of Bradley Beal. So it wasn't like Westbrook was the only guy on the court, obtaining those numbers. It goes back to what you just touched on a little bit earlier. Like we got to put him in a position where Westbrook can be Westbrook. I mean, when you bring him in, you know who he is. So,
Yeah.
you gotta have better understanding of that. You know
But
what I mean?
that's a mutual thing, though. I mean, and I don't want to just totally absolve Westbrook from his faults. He has to be self aware and understand it might be time to come off the bench, because if you're playing with LeBron James, who's ball dominant, you're ball dominant. Well, you're not going to get the ball out of LeBron's hands, as you can see. So be willing to come off the bench, try to be the sixth man of the year, and you'll make everything better by doing that. Kendrick Nunn's going to actually be, knock on wood, healthy this year. Let Kendrick start. He fits better with LeBron because he can be an off the ball guy. He can space the floor, let LeBron kind of be that quasi point guard. He makes plays as a secondary guy. And then when Westbrook comes off the bench, hey Wes, you play like you've been playing your whole career. And then we'll see how the flow happens towards the end of the game in terms of you being a finisher. But I think that's the way to go. And I think Darvin Ham has a temperament to get Westbrook to do that. I don't think it's going to be any balking and frowning up your face at Darvin Ham. That's a different type of
Yeah.
dude.
No, that definitely won't be happening. But I think what Ham is going to do is allow Westbrook to be more of Westbrook. I think that's what's going to happen. Westbrook, like, look, I love the idea of him coming off the bench. I would love the idea, and as crazy as it sounds, of LeBron coming off the bench because he can actually conduct and run the team. But it's kind of too early for both of them at their respective careers. Like when you align the ego and the salaries, like you're gonna have a
A
huge
40,
contract, a
yeah,
max contract
a
guy
40,
coming off
a
your
40,
bench.
yeah, $40 million guy. But
Yeah,
hey,
that
but what if this $40 million guy plays starter minutes and it's the sixth man of the year, and
that's
you're
possible.
lo and behold, you're in the Western Conference Finals? Is it worth it then? I
Yeah, if
mean,
that happens. Yeah,
but yeah, but I think that's possible if he was to come off that bench
yeah,
and really just you know let the thing let it go. I mean, LeBron it's LeBron's team, and just it would show me a lot about Westbrook if he just went to Darvin Ham and say, hey, let me come off the bench and
yeah,
let me be me and get my rhythm going, and then by mid-season, once I have a flow, then integrate me into not even the starting lineup, but I play more with the starters. And
yeah,
then I would like to see that.
yeah. That would be interesting to see. He would probably deserve, a lot of awards for doing that, because there's a lot of players in the league and on our team that wouldn't do that. So,
Yeah.
if he was able to pull that off, that would be awesome. But I think stand pat with him this year, see how it works this year. Maybe fluctuate their minutes. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Even if they are starting, just kind of fluctuate the minutes a little better and see how that goes. Because maybe you don't wear out Anthony Davis as much, or maybe LeBron plays a lot less minutes, but they still get their games played because all the contractual things that come from that,
Mhm.
playing X amount of minutes, getting all, the votes and all that stuff. So, I know there's a lot behind why
Yeah,
guys want to play.
I get that too, but I
Yeah.
mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Doesn't Darvin Ham, does he come from that Popovich tree? Does he come from that tree?
Well, he that's a good question. I think he does because he comes from the Budenholzer, which comes from the
Yes.
Popovich. So he's another branch off the limb, if you will. So
Right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So,
So
I mean, and I brought that up because of Ginobili. Ginobili made All Stars coming
yeah,
off the
he did.
bench. So I
Yeah.
mean, I know a lot of people like, oh my God, I came off the bench, but if you still playing 30 plus minutes a game, what you complaining about? I mean,
Yeah.
if you still playing more than Kendrick Nunn, what's to complain about?
Yeah.
It's not about who starts; it's about who finishes. It's about who plays meaningful basketball. And if he would get that mentality and understand this will help him and LeBron both be in rhythm and in sync. So then, by the time it is the fourth quarter, they're more likely to be able to play off each other because they'll have their their juice is going. They won't feel like, okay, I'm not in the game. Let me figure something out. You've already playing. It's just,
Yeah.
it makes too much sense to me.
Yeah. Well, we'll definitely see what happens. I know, our brass is not going to reveal what they want to do at this point. Keep everybody on their toes. But man, I think I think we, Kyrie. Obviously, getting Kyrie he's a
Yeah,
tremendous talent. I know a lot of people don't like him, but he definitely, as far as talent goes, it's amazing. And I'm gonna throw a little graphic up to show you, show us what we talked about this before, but in the finals, um, you
yeah,
know,
Blake Curry.
back in 20s, 16. I mean, if you just look at the numbers there, I mean, he outplayed Stephen Curry. And this wasn't the Stephen Curry that was with the bad ankles trying to, find his way early in his career. This was, MVP level Stephen Curry, and Kyrie gave it to him. And it's like, if nothing else, they cancel each other out. So that's the type of talent that
He
that
is.
Kyrie is. You know what I mean? And it's just, as you stated, there's a lot of the off the court things that really makes it tough on to really rely on him as a number two guy for your squad, or just maybe a consistent number 2/3 guy.
Yeah,
But maybe coming to LA would help that because he has a certain level of respect for LeBron. Maybe that would help. But as far as the talent, without a doubt. But I just think,
I
like you
were.
stated earlier, something that was very key that you stated, those draft picks down the line.
Hmm.
Those are the picks now, that we really need to hold on to more than anything.
Yeah,
Because as I was talking with some people earlier in the social media world, I was like, the talk was about, hey, let's get another title so we can catch Boston. And I was like, well, I understand, but it'll be better if we set up for a run versus just getting one more title. Because that'll always be the petty race right there. If you're talking about a title here, a title there, title, but
and
make that run.
And
Get
Boston
the,
even though they lost in the finals this year, they set up for a run, and they just
yeah,
made another key move of bringing in Malcolm Brogdon. So I mean,
exactly.
so yeah, they can go for a run. We
Right.
can't.
Right.
We would be a one and done
Yeah.
type of situation again.
Yeah. So let's try to get a run in there and keeping those picks. I think that's even more important than the Kyrie and Westbrook swap because you can still get production. Like for example, I don't understand why they don't talk about this, but Westbrook gave us 18 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists last season, and he's the third option on the team, right?
Yeah, he just needs to get his turnovers down. I think you can get your turnovers down by not being, you know, out there with LeBron. He'll I
That's
mean
fair.
he's gonna be a high turnover guy anyway. But
Right.
I think it'll be less with LeBron because LeBron is not gonna slash and give him those openings. He's not gonna do the things that a role player would do
Mm-hmm.
to make life easier for Westbrook.
Yes,
So,
sir.
it's very much like, what we're seeing is what would have happened in Miami if Dwayne Wade had said, no, it's my team. I want the ball.
Right.
Dwayne Wade took a step back and said, look, LeBron, you got it. I'll go play off the ball. And Dwayne Wade just happens to be a better shooter than Westbrook and it's a better player too. But I mean,
Yeah, better defender.
yeah, and
Easily.
better defender, better player, better
Yeah.
shooter. But it's very much the same scenario. Only difference
Yeah.
is, you know, Westbrook doesn't have the ability to go stand in the corner and space the floor. He's not that type
Right.
of shooter. So, you know,
All right. And in mentioning that, Chris Bosh, he was averaging 22 points, 10 rebounds a game in Toronto the year before going to Miami, meeting up with the crew. And he changed his game to where he became what you just said, spot
yeah,
up shooter in the corner.
yeah,
He turned into a spot up shooter in the corner and played and focused on defense. He actually changed his entire game to fit, to fit the box. You know what I mean?
right.
So we'll see where it comes from with that. But let's just say Westbrook, for some reason, this trade doesn't go down. Like you said, maybe the Lakers smarten up and say, hey, we ain't giving up these picks. Or maybe the Nets on the other end say, wait a minute, we don't want Westbrook. We don't want to pay him when we kind of already got some guys under contract now. What if the Kevin Durant and Kyrie, because that was a talk too about the Durant and Kyrie both coming to the Lakers because they want to play together somewhere, allegedly.
Yeah.
and that would be an ideal spot. But don't that mean somebody have to lead the team?
Well, I mean, and that's where we get into the other scenario, which is, would you trade Anthony Davis and Westbrook as a package for
Mm,
Kyrie and KD?
boy,
You know, it kind of solves a problem for both teams, because now at least Brooklyn has a cornerstone player to build around and go forward with in Anthony Davis,
yeah,
who's not old by any
right,
stretch of the imagination. And then you get rid of Kevin Durant, who's disgruntled. You get rid of Kyrie, who you absolutely don't want. Westbrook comes off the books,
yep,
and you know that cap space opens back up to make a move to go build around Anthony Davis, and you can be right back in the hunt. Um, so I mean that's and then from the Lakers standpoint, obviously the pairing of LeBron James and Kevin Durant would be just ridiculous. And then and then Kyrie is almost like the throw-in player at that point.
wow,
I mean, and so it would just be mind-boggling. And then on top of that, you're basically having LeBron play the role that the Brooklyn Nets envision Ben Simmons playing, which is, I'm just going to facilitate, play defense, get rebounds. LeBron really wouldn't have to score with Kevin Durant and Kyrie.
no,
All he really has to do is set them up. I mean, and LeBron can get 20 points just rolling out of bed, just running up and down the floor. So LeBron will probably average 20, 12 assists, 8
yep,
rebounds easily.
yep,
And KD will probably average his 30, 32 points. Kyrie will average 25, 26
yep.
points. I mean, and the rest of the guys just have to fill in, hustle, and play defense. I mean, it would be a match made in heaven if they could pull that off instead. And the Nets should really think long and hard at that, because when you're talking about trading Kevin Durant, you're going to get pennies on the dollar. But what if those pennies add up to 90 cents on the dollar?
Yeah,
And I think Anthony Davis is 90 cents on the dollar. I mean, you really can't get a better player for trading Kevin Durant than KD outside of maybe Giannis, Luka, and Embiid. That's about it. It's not much more
it's a
you're gonna
short
get.
list.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a very short list. So if you got to trade KD and you say, hey, I walked away with Anthony Davis, huh? I,
hey,
I mean, and look, Kyrie isn't going to be there regardless. Now, you know, you're worried about draft picks and all that right there, but you know, KD is something you can definitely build around. I mean, I'm the next, I would consider that if I'm going to move KD.
hey, man, look, that would definitely have both sides sitting back looking like, wait a minute, you know what I'm saying? If that came up, they're both going to have another meeting, sit at the table, and think that one through. That's a blockbuster deal right there. There's a lot of major names right there moving, and for various reasons. And so it's almost like, I can't live here, but I'll go live over there and vice versa. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think it makes
and,
sense. I
and,
mean,
and at
it's
the
a
end,
win-win.
yeah, and at the end of the day, you got to think about this too. Brooklyn still has Ben Simmons, which
Yep,
means they don't really need Westbrook. Which means that if they were to trade him now, they can flip Westbrook mid-season for something better. So you can still flip because people are going to want that $46 million cap relief that Westbrook brings. So there's no reason why Brooklyn couldn't run it with AD and Ben Simmons. We saw what Embiid and Ben Simmons did. They made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. So
yep,
if you can flip Westbrook for, let's say, a salary dump or somebody that a team wants to move on or whatever, or a bunch of spare parts or pieces or whatever, there's things you can do to bring on, and rebuild his team and have a better locker room and all that stuff. So, I
yeah.
mean, and Kevin Durant, I'll tell you something weird about him. LeBron has the whole league fooled. And it's because LeBron is such a freak of nature the way he's playing older,
Right.
playing great while he's still old. People don't realize Kevin Durant is older than you think. People
Yeah.
don't realize that Kevin Durant is going to age much faster than LeBron. Okay. So while you may want to hold on to LeBron, if you Brooklyn, like we can rebuild around KD, we can rebuild, you might not have enough time.
Yeah. They only got a 3 to 4 year window at max.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's for
AD,
anybody.
yeah, AD is actually younger than Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just
There's some
something to
things to think of. Something to
something to
think
consider.
about, man. Something to chew on, man. Man, with all those trade, scenarios we just discussed, man. But, you know, what the Lakers got something that they need to take care of, and that's right now in the free agency period. And there's a couple names out there, a couple players out there. So who are you looking at for the Lakers to make a push for?
Well, free agency is much to do about nothing with us because I mean we don't have the cap space to go sign anybody big. It's going to basically be a lot of veteran minimums. We're going to try to get the most out of this a mid-level exception, which I think we've already used part of it on Walker from San
Lonnie
Antonio.
Walker?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's that. So basically, it's just going to be mid-level exceptions. We'll see how that works out and how that goes. But I mean, at least they're going young. I see we're getting a lot of young players, guys that are under 25. But with that youth comes experience, inexperience, mistakes, and stuff like that. But definitely going to have some athleticism. Definitely going to be able to get up and down the court. But I mean, obviously, shooting is what we need.
Yeah.
Anybody that can shoot the ball and defend, and under 30, that's probably if we can get them, we're gonna go after them. That's just where we are with free agency.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. Boy, I mean, it's really tough right now. Like you said, it's really tough on who you can really try to pick up, man. A couple of people I had in mind. It's kind of late now. It's too late to get them. But like a Mo Bamba, what I mean? It was some
Hmm.
players along those lines, but it's kind of late to get them. I think he's back in Orlando. So maybe a Thomas Bryant or somebody like that. Maybe get some kind of 6'10", 6'11" guy that can run the floor, rebound a little bit.
Yeah,
Just assuming that we're still going to have Anthony Davis, in the fold. I'm not sure what Cousins is looking like. Um, if Denver's going to hold on to him or not, or let him,
yeah,
go. But maybe
and
scoop up a big like that or something.
yeah. I mean, and I'll say this too: we can't. While I get we want to go young, we need some veteran presence. I mean,
Yeah.
we need a blend. You don't want to go too old. You don't want to go 35, 36. But if you got somebody's 30, 31, I got no problem with that.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
so I mean, but yeah, it's like I say, you got to pick up the pieces, and that goes back to why I say that if we really want to you know rebuild, and you just look around and like, look, man, this isn't gonna work. Which and not to back this thing back up the trade scenario, but I'm like, would you trade LeBron for KD? Would you trade
Hey,
LeBron? I would,
yeah,
but that's
yeah,
me, you know.
yeah.
But
You save some years. You save some years on that, and then Westbrook. Now that fits because obviously Durant doesn't require the ball. He's going to get his shots. He's an efficient shooter, and that plays right into how Westbrook plays the game anyway. So between AD and KD, you have an AD KD, and with that works. But obviously there's going to be a lot of pushback on that, but it's
yeah,
definitely something. It's definitely something to consider, though. You know what I mean?
yeah. All I think about is this. I mean, and while I'm a fan of LeBron and his game, but as far as the way he's handled the NBA situation, um, he always leaves. He leaves the team
Yep.
abruptly and in shambles. And I'm always like, Lakers got to be smart enough to don't let him do that to them. If he doesn't sign this extension by the deadline or whatever, and this, that, and the other, and he's like waiting it out, and he got you over the barrel. Like, look, you come to him like, look, if you're not ready to sign, we ready to trade, and that's just it. And I mean, and people are going to be chopping at the bit to get LeBron James, and I wouldn't hesitate to trade him.
Well, look,
Yeah.
since you brought that up, right, we need to talk about this. All right, LeBron and KD. Okay,
Mhm.
there was some talk, some discussions out there. I actually ran across one today. Really wasn't looking for it, but it popped up, and on the Fox show, there's a gentleman on there that made it his point to bring up LeBron and KD and compare the two, as saying that LeBron, he played out his contracts, then he leaves, and then KD, is forcing his way out. And so it's like, haha, see, that's why this guy can't compare to this to LeBron. So, since we're on this, let's go ahead and discuss this, man, because I feel that if you add up the teams, I mean, yeah, LeBron played out his contracts, okay, but just like what you just said, uh, he has a signed extension, and
Mhm.
and in Cleveland, his first year, okay, you're about to become a free agent. This is the team that you've been with for 7 seasons. Let them know, hey, let's talk about what the next move gonna be as an organization, so they can work and you can work out something. But they were left in the dark, right, with the
Mhm.
decision. And then he left Miami. Yeah, you played out your deal, but you left. Pat Riley was upset and salty about it because he wants to know what you're doing so that they can decide, hey, because they want to keep you, just like the previous stop, and so on and so forth. So now you're talking about stop number 4 because Cleveland counts as 2 stops.
Yeah.
We're back at it again. So Rod, explain, tell me what you think about this, because I think KD and LeBron, yeah, you can slice it how you want to slice it, but they both are on heading towards team number 3/4, and
Yeah.
they just doing it 2 different ways.
I
What's
mean,
your thoughts on that?
look, in fairness, I think you started talking about Shannon Sharp. Say Uncle Shay, he got a point. It's something to be said about, hey, I played out my contract, never demanded to be traded. I really owe nobody nothing. That's one way of looking at it. The flip side to it is, I would rather you tell me you want to be traded. I would rather tell me that you're leaving
Exactly.
so I can get compensation for you, versus you just leave and leave abruptly. And a lot of times people don't pay attention to how LeBron leaves. LeBron leaves after everybody else is gone. He leaves. He leaves after, and when I say everybody's gone, he leaves at the end of free agency. So when he leaves, you don't have the players available that you want to try to replace, which he's irreplaceable, but to at least
Yeah.
put something together. So, for instance, if LeBron leaves and let's just say a Jimmy Butler's on the market, um, LeBron will wait till Jimmy goes sign to Minnesota or Miami, and then he'll announce, "Well, hey, I'm not going back to Cleveland." And Cleveland like, well, hell, we could have went at Jimmy Butler, if you had to just let us know,
Yep.
So it's stuff like that. That's why I'm like, yeah, I mean, if I would come to him like, hey, what's the deal? Do you want to be here or not? If you don't want to be, like, what's the hold up on signing this extension? Whether it's a 1 year deal, something. Give me something so I know how to build and how to maneuver, because I don't, because, for instance, if LeBron's leaving anyway, why would I trade Westbrook, who's an expiring contract
Yep.
and gonna give me cap space and flexibility? Why would I trade him to take on? Because you're probably gonna take on salary. You're not gonna bring back another great guy that's got 4 years on his deal. That just doesn't happen. So you're gonna bring in, you know, some guys that have a long contract, and now you're stuck. And so if LeBron decides to leave, you got this roster that fits around him, and it takes longer for the rebuilding process. Look how long it took for Cleveland just to be decent again. Look how
Yeah.
long it took Miami, and Pat Riley's a genius. It took Miami a while to figure itself out after LeBron did that to him. So I just, I'm more in the camp versus now look at how look at how you know Golden State has rebounded and won a championship since KD left because KD told him,
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out." So
Yeah.
and they got something for it. They got compensation for it. And that's the difference. I mean, and even OKC, they're where they at by their own choosing. They just keep tanking, but they got compensation. They got
Yeah.
something, and that's the big difference. So, um, it's what LeBron is doing is fair, is by the book. What Katie is doing is unethical, but so is just leaving abruptly. Both are unethical, but different reasons. And
Yeah. Two
but
things. Two things can be right, and I
yeah,
think that but I just want people to understand is, you know, on some people have agendas, and so the way that was presented was agenda based. It
mhm,
was it was it was set for people to watch that, look at the clip, and then all of a sudden go that way. And if you're already leaning that way, that's your chance for your rallying cry,
mhm,
to say, hey, this is why. And it's like, no, there's more to it than just that. Like there's some
yeah,
things about, you know, okay, yeah, technically you did that. Okay, but technically they can trade you when they want to then. You know what I'm saying? Then how you gonna feel? So
yeah.
so it's like
And I want people to keep that same energy. If the Lakers did, which I
keep the
doubt they
same
will,
energy.
but if they did have the audacity to trade the great LeBron James, I don't want to
Hmm.
hear people, being all up in arms when he's done it to everybody else. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. And like because right now, as you stated, like these moves are being based on assuming that LeBron's still gonna be there, assuming that, X player, this player, you're basing it on what you have
this whole
and what
Westbrook
you know right now.
this whole Westbrook situation we're in right now, we would not be in if LeBron didn't want it that way. Right now, I think if LeBron didn't call the shots the way he's been calling the shots, we would have Brandon Ingram right now, along with Anthony Davis, because Anthony
Yeah,
Davis could have just signed as a free agent. So
as a
it's
free
just
agent.
versus being traded and we giving up all these picks. We would actually have a pick in this previous draft right now. It's just so much that would be different if LeBron didn't get his say so. So, you know, it's
Yeah. Yeah, my whole thing was that you just can't wash it one way and shade it that way. It's more to it than that. And
mhm,
just not gonna let them get away with that one.
yeah.
Without anybody having the opportunity to view it from more than one angle there. But yeah, man, we got to talk about these young guys now, man. Um,
I'm
since
scared.
we
I'm
are,
scared. I'm scared. I'm scared for one of them. I'm scared for
uh-oh, well, I tell you what, like, man, look, since we are tight on draft picks, the Lakers gonna have to be creative here, man. And two players of lineage, if NBA lineage, are didn't get drafted, but we scooped them up, and now they're playing on our summer league roster. The young fellas. We'll talk about Scottie Pippen Jr. first, um, and we get your thoughts on Scotty. Well, our thoughts, but in particular your thoughts on Scottie Pippen Jr. Man, had a decent opener and actually decent first two games.
him.
What
Yeah.
you think of Scottie Pippen Jr.?
I mean, he looks to be a pure point guard. He makes great decisions with the ball so far from what I've seen. He has good mechanics on his jump shot, which tells me that he could be a pretty good shooter. Obviously, he comes from a great stock and pedigree. I mean, his dad's one of the top five small forwards of all time. And he's looking fantastic out there, and he's the guy that I was speaking of when I say I'm afraid for him because kind of tie into our previous topic. You know, young guys that peak early are usually thrown in trades and usually the throw-ins, and so he keeps this up, he might start hearing his name in a throw-in situation for Kyrie Irving. But yeah, he's playing damn good basketball. And I look forward to continuing to watching him. And another guy, Shaq's son, man. Is it Sharif? That's
Yeah,
in the yeah, yeah. So
Sharif.
yeah, so with Sharif being here, man, and um, you know, um, definitely, his whole story, and the process he's went through to even make it here. I'm happy for the kid, and look forward to seeing him. I don't think he's ready to play in the NBA full time just yet.
Okay.
I do want to keep him though. I think he probably could definitely benefit from spending some time in the G League, and just develop a little bit more. But he does have a lot of raw talent. He just needs to get in the NBA system and then get some more reps. And I don't think he can quite crack the rotation just yet. Although I do think Scottie Pippen Jr. can probably get some minutes. Just looking at what he's done, he's kind of he's a he could be a pretty good backup point guard
Yeah.
right now for some people.
Yeah. And man, even if he gets a two-way where he can play up, play down, that'll be good as well. And it's always players, man, that come out of nowhere. They either undrafted. Look at Van Vliet,
Hmm.
undrafted. And then he signs a mega deal, and he's like a main cog now in Toronto. And actually, he's the one that took the baton from Kyle Lowry. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So and undrafted. That means
yeah,
every team in the league had a chance to get him.
yeah,
Some had more than one chance to get him, and so those opportunities are there. So we got to dig, as my friend Rod would say, Rodney Williams. We call him Rod too, Rod, and he always says dig the crates when we're
yeah,
playing fantasy football, fantasy basketball. Got to dig those crates and find something. And so hopefully that's what we're doing here, man, with the young guys, man. And even O'Neal, man, if he could continue to develop, his Shaq being a great Laker, I know that's going to give him an extra bump, an
hmm,
opportunity to maybe hang around. So if he can even catch on with the G League roster, I think that'd be good for him. But Pippen does look like somebody who should be playing
yeah.
uh, in the crypto.com arena.
Oh God, that sounds so terrible.
Yes, I know it, man. You want to say, Staples Center.
It's
Uh,
Staples.
I want to say Great Western Forum, you know what I'm saying? But,
Yeah,
crypto, man.
yeah,
So,
man.
but yeah, man, that's what we had, man, to cover today with the Lakers, man. And, it's always good to chop it up with you about that, man. And, of course, we got to see how things play out.
Yeah, man. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it could be very well next week. It's a whole different team. So, so, so we'll see how that goes, man. I mean, but I just look forward to this. I mean, just to put a to wrap this show up, I'll just say this right here. What I want to see, no matter who we get on this roster, is a return to defensive intensity.
Come on, preach.
Um, paying attention to those details, rebounding, and
Yes,
sharing the ball, taking care of the ball. If we do those four things right there, we can be right back in the in. I mean, because at the end of the day, LeBron is an all-time great.
yep,
Anthony Davis is a top five talent when focused. You put those two things together, you should be able to challenge almost anybody in this league. And
easily.
and so it comes down to buying into what the coach is saying, what he's telling you. And I think, I'm really rooting for Darvin Ham to prove everybody wrong, and prove everybody that he belongs in this league. So this is our you know, let's do it.
Yeah, let's get it, man. I mean, you closed it out well, Rod. There's nothing else for me to say behind that. But the only thing I'll say is, man, I appreciate you being on, and we gotta get back together. Like I said, man, I love the hat, man. I love the cube look, man. You know.
So
But yeah,
yeah,
but
yeah.
yes, sir. Yes,
All right.
sir. But yeah, but for Rod, I'm Mr. 411. You are just exiting the Laker locker room. We'll see you later.
Peace.